you
Good
doing
afternoon,
today?
ma'am.
Good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How
Yes.
is it going for you, Manjot?
It's going well. It's going well here. It just it's get hectic in the weekdays, but the weekends are fine.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
How are your studies progressing?
But I'm done with my studies now. I'm just waiting for the results.
Okay, you're through.
And
Okay, wonderful.
yes, yes. Just finalized my dissertation and my publication. So now I'm just waiting for the results.
Oh, my best wishes for that.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
So, shall we start, Sarthak?
Yeah, ma'am, we'll start in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we gather here for alumni meet. On behalf of all the members of GTBIT Finishing School, I would like to welcome our honorable speaker for today, Mr. Manjot Singh Dhillion. He graduated from our own college GTBIT in 2021 and now for his own quest of knowledge and to achieve new heights. He went on to join United in the United Kingdom to pursue his master's degree in business analytics. And now I would like to call Mrs. Seema ma'am, the teacher in charge and the conveyor of GTBIT Finishing School.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome the speaker for the day, Manjot Singh. Dhillion, and as you all know, and we've already mentioned that in the flyers and our promotional material, that he is an alumni from our college. Who happens to have completed, as I just got to know, he's almost through with his studies at Lancaster University in United Kingdom. So it's great to have you here with us today, Manjot. Welcome to this session. And he's going to be talking about quite a few things. As I'm given to understand, he's going to be talking about how to cope with exams, how to build a resume for yourself, a winning resume for yourself, something that you would be needing, to explore, greener pastures and bigger horizons, right? Once you're done with your BTech. And he'll also be telling us about his journey as to what inspired him to go in for higher education, and how did he really go in for or home on to this specific university, what was the criteria for choosing this one, or how did it all come about. So all in all, he's going to be telling us a lot of interesting stuff, which I can very well make out from the contents of the promotional materials. So I'm sure all the students are looking forward to this session, and they will have plenty to learn from their senior, from someone who's been there, who's done it all, and who has lots of experience now to share with others, right? And in fact, Manjot, I wanted to tell you, since you're the speaker of the day, I'm sure you are aware of what we as finishing school has been doing here in the college. Uh,
Yeah.
Finishing school has been a very important endeavor of ours, wherein we've been teaching our students soft skills. We've been teaching them the finer aspects of etiquette, and and this is all over and above the academics, right? Over and above
Yeah.
the BTech degree that they're studying for. And traditionally, in Western countries, since now you are based in UK, you would have a fair amount of an idea about this, or you may have read about it earlier, or you may have come across information on this, that there used to be this concept of finishing schools, right? Traditionally, and the idea
Mhm.
was, young ladies, elegant ladies from good families, elite
Yeah.
families, they would learn all the etiquettes, the finer mannerisms of how to sit on a dinner table, how
Yeah.
to move around and make a small talk, how to move in a high societies. That was the whole concept of finishing school. And, sort of imbibing from there, taking our inspiration from there, this concept of school is what we are all, encouraging and promoting and endorsing in our college. And the idea is to build the personality of our students to work on their all-round development, right? And since you know that this is not a one-off thing,
Yeah.
developing a person's personality is not a one-off thing. It is an ongoing process, right? We are
Yes.
throughout our lives working to build our personalities. We are always trying to assess what our goals in life are, what our values in life are. We want to build our skills. We want to equip ourselves with the right kind of qualities, so that we can reach our full potential. So the idea of personality development is so important to to us, and also it is at the core of our endeavors, all our endeavors. This is precisely what we are aiming at and what we are building on. I'm sure everyone wants to be around people, with a great personality. It
Yeah.
helps you in so many ways. It
Yeah.
really helps you in making your presence felt, right? So the as I said, it offers you a lot of maturity. Offers you a lot of satisfaction in whatever you do. And through our workshops, through our activities, through our events, through our training, this is precisely what we are always targeting. We are trying to inculcate in the student community of this college that they should enhance their communication abilities. They must, work on their presentation competencies. They should be able to discuss in a forum. They should be able to, uh, build a resume for themselves. They should uh, try and be a team player. They should try and lead a team. So they'll be able to achieve their personal goals, their career goals in a good way. They'll be able to advance in their careers. They'll know what their strengths are. They'll know what their talents are, and how they can go on working towards bettering themselves. That's the whole idea, because
Yes.
as we say that we are, we carry ourselves wherever we go. So we have to invest in ourselves. We need to continuously, consistently, persistently explore and expand what we are capable of. And as I said earlier, that it's not a destination, it's a journey, right? So we need to go on unleashing our potential, be able to play on our strengths, be able to work well with others, enjoy the whole process, and go on learning and improving step by step, one day at a time. And I'm sure you will also have plenty of interesting information about your university to share. You'll be in a position to motivate your student community here in GTBIT,
Yeah.
or, maybe some of them, maybe your friends also, I'm not sure. So there'll be plenty of knowledge sharing and content sharing and information sharing. And of course, I hope that this session is a very interactive one, and students will understand that they really need to overcome their fear, right? Because one thing that
Yes.
keeps holding us back is our fear, the fear of the unknown. What's going to happen next? What if I fail? What if I don't do well there? What if
Yeah.
the university doesn't select me? So all those
Yes.
what ifs, they keep adding on, and our fear continues to multiply. So how do we prevent ourselves from giving ourselves to that kind of I would say fear, or that kind of apprehension, that what is going to become of me, right? So let's get this session started on that note. And I just thought of sharing what we've already been doing with our students by way of the various things that we continue doing. And we would love to call you back maybe some other time once you are well placed in some good organization, as you may have some plans for yourself.
Yes.
And As they say, life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. And I'm sure we all want to create a good life for ourselves, right? So over to you, Manjot. Welcome to the forum. The stage is all yours now. Wish you all the
Thank
very
you.
best with all that you intend to do in future. And you are most welcome to come back to this forum any other time in future. And we would love to, hear from you about your future, adventures as you go forth in your journey. So welcome once again, Manjot.
Thank you, Seema ma'am. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Same
Thank you
here.
for the warm introduction. Thank you for the warm
Thank you.
introduction. First of all, I'm very grateful to be here. Thanks to the GFS Society. Thanks to Sarthak personally to reaching out to me and giving me a chance to obviously impart wisdom, if one says. So thank you very much for having me here. And today, I will start with off my introduction, and let me just share my screen. Then we'll just get on with our presentation, and then at the end there will be a Q&A. Yes. Well, I'm sure that you can see my screen. Just a couple of. Can you see my screen?
Absolutely. Yes,
Yes.
Manjot, we can.
Well,
Please go.
yes. First of all, as Seema ma'am said, that you need to be have this continuity of bettering yourself like every single day, and there's something which we obviously we need to work on, and that's how I got here, by just continue to do working on myself. So let's start with the introduction. My name is Manjot Singh, and I was a student of GTBIT 2017-2021 computer science engineering, and it was a fun time for 4 years. I think learned a lot from there: professionalism, communication, and coding languages, and just to upskill myself. So it was a very great adventure. Then I came to UK and got this university, and I got selected by this university, Lancaster University, for my master's in business analytics. Currently, I already did my dissertation. I've already finalized my master's now, and I'm just waiting for the results. And currently, I'm also working as a financial analyst at a law firm here in Lancaster. It's a part-time which I basically joined during my first 6 months of my master's. So after my 6 months of masters, I got there's a lot of time which I have in my hand, and I can obviously I can add this to my resume. So I got this job as a financial analyst. Well, now I would be moving on to in November. I would be moving on to a big firm in London. Its name is Quick Release. It's an automation firm, and it's all about automation and automotive cars like Mercedes, Benz, and Lamborghini or Ferrari or all of those companies. So I would be working there as a data analyst consultant in November. Well, that's about me. That's my introduction. So today there's a lot of steps to cover. We'll go one by one on academics, on job, resume, higher studies, and then obviously at the end there would be a Q&A. So let's just get started. So first of all, academic, I'll go in a way that is encapsulate my journey at GTBIT and then to here. So, personal results. And first of all, this presentation is basically for me, so that I can know what I need to talk about. So, yes, personal results. In academics, if I want to talk about myself, in 12th standard, I was a very average student. Scoring around, my finalized score was 75%, and I didn't get into JE, I didn't get into IIT or NIT, but luckily I got, and fortunately I got into GTBIT, where I actually learned a lot. So as it says, perseverance matters, and the continuity of bettering yourself matters. So what I would like to say in here is that during my first semester, second semester, I was scoring way less. My percentage was way less in the first semester of my computer science engineering. It was like 62.77. I already know the grade because it just imparted on my mind that I scored so less, and it was like my lowest rank. And I was like, I was disgruntled, obviously. And then I was like, and I need to work on myself, and just because I don't want to do a business, I don't want to do I want to do something in coding because I love coding. I love working with Python. I love working in C++ or Java. So that's what I want to do. So from first semester it goes 62, in second it goes 67, in third it goes 72, 77. That's how actually I looked at myself, that every single day, every last semester, if I score, let's say 62 percentage, next semester it has to be 62.1, or it can't be 62 less. It has to be 62.01, 0.02, but it needs to be more than me. It needs to be more than me. So I didn't look at any other competition of my toppers in the class or my friends or my friend circle. So that's like my first tip, which I still apply to myself, that every day I just needs to be better than myself. So in the last semester, if I score 62, I have to make sure that I score more than 62, not 92, not 95, but just more than 62. That's how I got. And in that's this graph of perseverance, of this graph of my bachelor study and scores just gone up. After that, I started working on myself. I started putting more hours. I started cramping Akash and taking notes in the class, making notes in the class, and obviously before the exam, going uh, through those notes. And that's how I actually got. And the last semester, seventh, or it started from sixth semester. In seventh semester, I scored basically 92 percentage. And then it started going up, like in seventh semester, I scored 98. And then in the last semester, I scored 99.75, which was on my personal best. I was like, oh, okay, I did it. I was at 62. I made myself that I make sure that I score a lot number percentage. And obviously this perseverance, as it says, it always matters. Because if you go into a internship interview, if you go into an interview, you need to have those strong building points about yourself, that how did you work. And obviously interview is what I like to say is not a formal conversation. It's a journey. It's a journey about yourself, because they want to know you, they want to hire you, they want to obviously know you better. And that's how you can like talk about your journey, and in a journey in a way that it encapsulate all of your studies, all of your internships, all of your projects, and in the way, so it should be like a selling point of yourself. And as you know, so this personal results, as they have to matter. So if you are, let's say, if you're getting less score, never mattered. It doesn't matter. You just need to work on the next semester and just say that, yeah, I would like to score more than that. So that's how you go up. It's just one step at a time. It doesn't, like, the magic doesn't happen in one day. It has to be happen, like, it took me 4 years to score 90 plus. So that's something which I think is a takeaway from this. And then it says academic and internships clash. It's always an issue. My sister, my younger sister, my younger brothers, they all are doing their let's say BCom or BTech, and they're always saying that we don't really have time. We have exams every 6 months. There's like 15 modules on us, and we need to like focus on practicals. We need to focus on our academics. We need to obviously start study. Well, then it is true that you need to have a lot on your plate, but that's why we are young right now, and that's why we are like 18, 19, 20 years old. We have a lot of energy, we have a lot of hours in our time which we can actually, because we don't really have the responsibilities which will come further after, let's say, 22 years, after 23 years. So at this time, it's the best to make out of your life. It's best to make that you have a lot of on your plate. You should have a lot of on your plate, and you need to know how to manage that. Because as internships, jobs, well, you do have to have skills. You do have to have your coding skills. So let's say it's a coding job, or you have to have your marketing skills. It's a marketing job. But all of that, there's one thing constant, which is basically professionalism and the soft skills. As Simon said, that there's a soft skills which encodes all of this. And you need to remember that, yes, there's professionalism, there's communication, and there's management, there's compartmentalize, there's segmenting your work. So that's how we get to do in bachelor's. Let's say I'm doing my bachelor's, I have an internship, and I'm also studying for my end semesters or something. So I need to remember that I have tools to work. I have to-do lists. I have notepads. I have notes which I can make my day. I can have a timetable. So all of these really helps, because if you trying to do compartmentalize, if you just trying to break down your day in like major chunks, that's what I did. Because at the first 2 years, I couldn't land a job, I couldn't land an interview, I couldn't land an internship, because I was at that point, I was still upskilling myself in coding area. I was still upskilling myself in data analysis, because that was my main route. So I was learning about data analysis in the first 2 years. And after 2 years, after my second year of my bachelor's degree, I was like, now I need to get an internship. Now I need to apply this knowledge which I have in a theoretical, in a practical way. So I started finding some internships. I just took what I could have, and I started like doing random internships for like, let's say 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. Sometime it was 7 hours a day. But that's what I'm talking about, that we are young right now. We have this blood, we have this power, which we can actually utilize a lot of our hours in a day. So that's how basically this academic and internship clash, that how do I score like 70 plus, and then how do I also have an internship, or how do I also have my own startup or something. So these all like, they need to manage by yourself, and you need to manage your time basically. If you have your time management, if you do from this stage, then it will help you a lot in your job stage, or in your after job stage, or during your interviews. It will really help you a lot if you just make timetables. I know it's kind of lame that who makes timetable, it doesn't really work, but then if you're making your timetable, it's a start. So if you make a timetable, you have Google timetable, they can send you notification that, oh, it's now time to work on your exams, or it's now time to work on your internship. So basically, the to-do lists and timetable is something I went throughout my 4 years of engineering. And after that, there's always this tactics that we always like, we love to have shortcuts. Well, but then it's always been frowned upon that we shouldn't take a shortcut. But as GTBIT and having this syllabus, which is obviously this vast, and you need to have these tactics at your disposal, let's say going through Akash and learning Akash, and basically getting through the previous papers. And what I used to do is I used to have Akash at my disposal. I used to have class notes, which used to be in PDFs, or sometime, let's say there's always a topper in the class who will make notes. So I will always get transferred to the notes. I will always ask for the notes. And then going through all of these right before the exams, right before, let's say 2 months or 1 month before the exam, it really matters. It really like works a lot if you just trying to do that. Because for me, it was that I have this, for me, it always worked in that way, that I need to go through all of these ones, and then I can write it down, I can jot it down, and then I can go through again and revise my notes right before the exams, and then I would be okay, I would be good. And that's how actually I got through my academic and go through my my bachelor's, my 4 years of engineering. That's how it happened. Like just going through notes, going through Akash, going through class notes, going through previous papers. And then everybody would be like, then obviously you're doing a lot of syllabus, you're doing the whole thing. You're not cutting down any modules, you're not cutting down any units. You're learning all of that. You're learning unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4. You're learning their notes, you're learning their your class notes and Akash. So that's how it works, that it's really not a chance to let it go, rather than just use all of that. And then, well, obviously it asks for your more time in the day, and that's what it's all about. That it's management. It comes down, basically it comes down to management. If you know how to manage your time, if you know how to compartmentalize or segment your work in different chunks, it works out. So that would be the academic section. So that's how I go through my 4 years. And next would be resume building, which actually simultaneously works with academics, because we only have 4 years, and we need to make most out of these 4 years. So the right time to enroll in internships. There's always a question that, should we just do summer internships? Should we just do winter internship? Should we just do 1 month of internships? It's always that question, which kind of bothered me, because I was like going through the same stage as of you, and then obviously asking everyone that what you are doing. So the right time to enroll in internships is always this time which you are right now living. Because if you can get an internship right now, you should get it right now. You should work on your academics right side by it. Because as you say, how many internships have enough internships? No, there's not a number here, because there's, as much as you can upskill yourself in a job, as much as you can upskill yourself in academics, you got to do it. Because at the end result is that you want to get a job, you want to get a stability, you want to get a, you want to go into a startup business, or you want to go to a higher studies. So as much as you upskill yourself in any jobs, because this is the trying out period. These 4 years, this is a trying out period. You need to try everything. You need to, let's say I was a coding, so I was doing computer science engineering. And right off the bat, I didn't know that I just want to do data analysis, because I was going through every single thing. I was going through Python, I was going through Django, I was going through Flask, I was going through this web development or this software development. So I was just finding any internship, because I just want to see that, how does that work? What do I want to do this for my whole life, or do I do this just want to do for my hobbies? So I started going through all of these skills, because that's how you get to know that what's your interests and what's your hobbies are. And that's how basically internships, they really matter. You do need to apply for it, but not at the cost of your academics, not at the cost of your academics. If you think that it's too much on your lot of plate, it is too much on your plate, then you got to make sure that you have a big plate. That if there's a big plate, you have to have a lot of on your plate. You need to make sure that these are the right ingredients you need in your plate to make yourself a good resume. And what I do is, so I break down resume in 4 or 5 things. First is your education, which would be in the first column. Second column, the first like 20% of your resume would be your education. What did you do, and like how much did you score? What modules did you study in your bachelor's or in your master's? Second would be my test scores. I gave IELTS, I gave GRE, I gave this thing, I gave Olympiads or something. They would be it. For me, it was like this. So after that, there comes a big chunk, which is basically my resume, my internships, if I did any internship or not, and then obviously explaining all the stuff which I did in that resume. So basically, my resume would be a 2-page resume. People say they should be a 1-page resume. People say they should be a 2-page resume. But then if you have this much skills, you can put in 2-page resume, but better sure that it should be complete rather than incomplete, because there's so much to resume rather than just your jobs, because there's extracurricular activities, there's projects which you did, there's certifications which you got, and there's any societies which you joined, any society work which you did, because there's so many things. As you said, that first component would be education, second would be test score, third would be your jobs, your internships, third would be the extracurricular activities. Did you join any societies during your 4 years of engineering, or you just studied? Because then let's say you just studied, or let's just say that you only worked on internships, then you would be lacking out one of the big major part, which is extracurricular activities. So you didn't do any of this. You didn't go any society, you didn't go any functions, you didn't manage any society, you didn't, let's say, took a part in basically in an event in a society. So that's basically lacks out. So we need to have these components in our resume rather than just internships, rather than just academics, rather than just extracurricular. We need to have like a lot of this, like 20% of this, 30% of this, 40% of this. And then there's come certification, test scores. And did you do some certification during your summer holidays, or during your weekends? Were you like upskilling yourself every single day? Because that's what resume says, that what were you doing? It's your life journey, that from the first, after your 12th grade, what did you do at every single day? So it would be in months. It wouldn't be in every single day. It would be in months. Like from this month to this month, I did this internship. From this month to this month, I was preparing for my end semesters or something. So yes, extracurricular activity really a lot of matters, because job is just not about coding skills. Job is just not about your technical skills. It's also about professionalism. It's also about your managing skills, because this is the only thing which is common in all of the jobs. You need to have professionalism. You need to have, as Seema was saying, that there's etiquettes which you need to have. You need to have a way to talk to people. You need to have that good smile on your face. You need to have that, you have that 3-piece suit or 2-piece suit if you're working in a good job. So these professionalism, this is what a 4-year engineering is for. That in 4 years you develop yourself. You obviously you make yourself professional. So after extracurricular activities, there should be your technical skills. Then, do you have technical skills? Do you have soft skills? So you mentioned all of that. Yeah, I know my Microsoft Excel. I'm advanced in Excel. So these are your technical skills, your coding skills. Then there come soft skills. Do you have management scope? Did you do your HVPE? Did you do your modules? So all of that. How much did you score? What did you learn? What were the takeaways which you took from that resume, from that HVP module? Then it's come to your projects, which I think are the major things that should be in your resume, which is basically the projects which you are doing by yourself. That's what it matters. The projects which you're doing with your, let's say, school, it also matters, but the thing which you're doing in your self time is a lot of weight there. Because if you have a lot of those stuff that you did by yourself, and you did it in your own time, and you didn't do it for someone else, you didn't do it for any monetary benefit, you didn't do it for any scores or academic scores, you did it for yourself because you wanted to upskill yourself. If that section is big enough, it's really good, because they're like, oh, okay, he can work on himself, he knows how to work, and he or she knows how it works. And then obviously you need to have, if you're technical, then you got to have like GitHub, LinkedIn. And I would say LinkedIn is just not technical. It would be also for marketing people. It would be for fairly non-technical people too, because LinkedIn is something I would say that does LinkedIn really matters? Because many of my friends and many of the students here in my master's right now at Lancaster University don't really have any LinkedIn. And I'm like, how are you going to get a job? So they're like, we're going to go to Indeed, we're going to go to some job fair or something, then we're going to get a job from there. But I think LinkedIn is much more to that. There's professionalism in LinkedIn, that the way you talk in LinkedIn is not equivalent to the way you talk to Instagram or to your Facebook or to WhatsApp. There's a different way of talking there. And as CMM said, that company matters, which company you are with. If you're being with professional people, then you're also professional. Then that's how you actually absorb someone's professionalism. And that's how you need to have LinkedIn. So if you don't have LinkedIn, that's the way to start right now, that you should have a LinkedIn. You should have your experiences there. No matter what, it should be there. And you should connect with people, connect with like-minded people that you want to be, let's say, in a coding area. So you should have those connects, you should talk to them, you should have this professionalism. Next is when to apply, when to leave. It's basically, I would say that if let's say if I would be free in mind during these 3-4 years of bachelor's, whenever I felt that I'm free right now, I only have academics, I need something more because there's a lot of hours in my day, then I would apply for internships. Then I would like to have an internship because that's how I try to manage my hobbies. Then there was when to leave. It's basically it's a very dynamic question, and then there's a very big dilemma in it, that when do you want to leave internship? Do you want to leave after 6 months or 4 months or 2 months? Because this 2-month internship is enough, or 3 months internship is enough. So basically, you leave an internship when you think that you learned everything from that internship. You have upskilled yourself from that internship. There's nothing more new to learn. The tasks are getting repetitive, and then you can't really learn anything more. So that's when you need to leave the internship. You need to get a new internship, because now you think that, oh, okay, I'm very grateful for everything which I got from that internship. Now I want to go into a new internship so that I can again upskill myself. Now, yes, projects, what are those? As I said, that projects are something which talks a lot about you, which says everything about you. What you do in your free time. Do you just binge watch Netflix? Like me, in a job, I guess during the job environment, you can binge watch a little bit, but again, you have 9 to 5, so you're gonna go there in the 9. So, but yes, you do need to have projects. You gotta have projects. They're really important. So these would be like 4 or 5 components, basically, of a resume building, which you need to make sure they are filled rather than they're just there. You need to know that you did all of this, and that's why they're there. And you need to, in an interview, you're going to be talking about your resume. So obviously you're going to talking about your journey, but this journey should be correlated to your resume. If there's no correlation, then there's mismatch, and then obviously it's not a good impression. But if there's an interviewer, he's asking, can you just talk about your journey? Because that was the first step. The moment they selected your resume, they were happy with your skills. If they're not, they're going to give you tests to test your skills. That's good. But then there's always this round which comes, which is the HR round, which I say. It's obviously the communication round. How well do you are suited for the job, where you talk to the HR and tell this whole resume story in a way that it's it's a good story, and it's a very intriguing story, and you bring a lot to the table. So that's what that round is. So that round is basically the important round, because people with great internships, great academics, they might lack at this round. But then if you have, let's say, average internships, average academics, it doesn't matter, because that's what job role is. Because job is two-way. The companies, they are there for you to upskill. So you go into the company and you learn a lot of stuff. They're gonna train you on their stuff. I've been into so many internships. I've around did 6 or 7 internships. During my second year, I started doing internships. Then that From there, I worked into a startup. I worked with a couple of good internship in London, and then I worked in one of the best internship which I ever had, which was my major break, was Mama Earth. I don't know if people had heard about that. Mama Earth is a beauty company, a beauty sort of company. They are their e-commerce website. Basically, they give beauty products, and they give facial products to babies, women, and men. So I got Mama Earth during my last 2 semesters. So I got this internship. It was for 4 or 5 months. I work as a data analyst and strategist there. So my role is just not to do coding, because it was a good firm. It was a very big firm, and it was like its valuation now is in billions or something. But now there, my role just not to do coding. It was also to present my stuff in a document, in a PPT, or because there would be, let's say, Varun Ghazal or Ala Ghazal, there's CEOs, CFOs. They would be sitting in a room, and there would be a 15-minute time slot for me. And in those 15 minutes, I would have to let them know what happened in my last week during my findings. So I would have to get a lot in those 15 minutes, because I only get 15 minutes. And as CFOs, CEOs, the founders, the management, basically the stakeholders, they are the person who are like very busy. So whatever you did and just coding skills, it needs to be in a presented form. So that's what my role was, that I was working as a strategist and a data analyst. I was also doing coding, a lot of time coding, but my coding wouldn't matter if I didn't have that professionalism, if I didn't have that way to talk in a presentation, because there would be a room full of people, and then I would be standing there, and then I would be just going that this is the coding line, this is the coding line. But that's not how it works. You need to present yourself. So this is only for the coding people. Well, there's also marketing people. The marketing people do qualitative results, qualitative analysis. So now, if you are a marketing people, then if you come into that criteria, then also, again, you can't just present your qualitative analysis. You need to profess your presentation, your findings. That's how it ends. Because any of the role you go, you need to have those findings entitled in a presentation. That's what professionalism is all about. You know how to present stuff. You have these soft skills. You have this charisma. When you walk into a room, you do a presentation, and there's like good, and then they ask for your Q&As, and then that all follows. But that's how is this resume building side is, that you have you have those 4 components. And if it all fills, then it's a good thing, because then you have a complete resume. But if one of the thing lacks, now you know, let's say you fill this resume, now you know that there's this component which is very less. So now I can work on it. Let's say you are lacking behind in extracurricular activities. Then you go into the main stuff, then you go into the societies, then you go having some events, and then you help them out, and then you can obviously put them in the resume that yes, I did this, I learned a lot. So this would be the resume building. And now we will move to the next section, which is jobs. As you can see, this is the only slide which is red, because I think majority of people and majority of my friends and me too, me inclusive, we all like worried about jobs. We need to have that stability, and that's when it comes when to apply for jobs. So during my my first 3 years in bachelor's, I didn't look for jobs. I just looked for internships. But right after my 4th years, let's say February of 2021, that's where the that's where the graduate roles comes out in the market. Right before September of any month. Let's say you are right now. It's September, and let's say You want to go into a company. So you apply in next February for the next September roles, because this September roles are filled now. It mostly works like this, that there's always these slots, there's always these months where the hiring take place, and the hiring always take place in January and February and March. Well, it's always a year round, but then there's also graduate roles, because right now we are graduates. Right now the bachelor students are graduate, the master students are also graduate. So these are the roles which you need to focus on, because there would be, let's say, 50, 60 companies easily. They would be hiring for next September role. So you would have to apply on in the February or in the January when the roll's out. And when it's obviously like the first come first basis, it's a rolling basis that they first do first month. Let's say you got 1 month late, there wouldn't be any jobs then. There wouldn't be any of that role available, because they hired a lot of people, because they hire in chunks, big companies. Let's say Fang or Amazon or anything. So these big companies, they hire like that. And mostly the companies follow the same norms. So I think this is the best time to apply for jobs, which is basically the seventh semester starting. Seventh semester is for me that I started applying for jobs. I got crazy in LinkedIn. I bought the premium, and I got like this. I got for 1 month of free trial of premium. And then those for free first month, I started applying for jobs. And I obviously I could send them my messages, my personalized messages. So that's how I was working out that this LinkedIn was just 1 month of premium trial, because I didn't want to pay a lot of money for that. But then in this first month, I got crazy on LinkedIn. Just my day would start with the LinkedIn and it would end with LinkedIn. And then that's how I actually got my Mama Earth job. Randomly, I would just click on easy applies, finding jobs, and then that's how I got Mama Earth. And the next day, I got a call from one of the consultant there, and then he was like, "If we would like to invite you for an interview," because on LinkedIn, job is finding like a needle in a haystack, but on Indeed or on like personal sites, let's say on a professional Amazon website, you need to have a cover letter, you need to have your resume good, you need to have those questions answered. So that's where LinkedIn comes up, that you don't really have to have a cover letter, but you just can easy apply all of the jobs, and then you can see like it's not effective. I wouldn't say it's effective, because Indeed is way more effective, or just applying with a cover letter, because um, it has a professionalism. Now, how to prep for interviews? Well, for me, I would like to talk in this that so I was a coding guy. And I need to work on my analysis skills and my Python, my SQL or Excel. So I would obviously look for the job professional career page, what they're looking for, what's their job description. So if you have their job description, just make sure that, let's say your resume gets selected, and now you have this need to prep for interview. Now, the moment you're prepping for the interview, right before the day, you need to have the job description look, and you need to see what are they asking for, the requirements. And if you have those requirements, you need to put them in the story of your resume, that yes, I have these things, so that they always marks those big things. And it has to be in a professional way. Now, does LinkedIn matters? Yes, I talked about this. What's after jobs? Yes. Let's say you got a job. Now what's after? Like nine to five. You're doing 9 to 5. You're having a lot of fun. Because after 5, the professional guys works like they start after 5 p.m. You go out, have fun, or maybe upskill yourself again for a new job. Because it's always a word. There's always a quote which is never settle. So you always find something for better. You always upskill yourself. But then, yes, then your life would be 9 to 5. And then after 5, you would be working on yourself again, or you would be partying out, or you would be having fun. So that's what's after jobs, that there wouldn't be any study pressure. There wouldn't be, but there's always an interview pressure if you're applying for jobs. So you need to, again, learn for interviews. And the good way to prep for interviews is to get interviews. If you're getting more interviews, you are actually prepping for interviews. So you need to have those real life-to-life conversations with the HR or with the company's professional people. So you need to have those conversations with them. Now, if no to jobs, then yes, there's always a minority like me that higher studies, that we do want to do masters. We just don't want to settle. For me, it was that Mama Earth was ready to give me a package after my 4 months of internships during my 8th semester. But I was like, I need to apply for higher studies. I wanna do my masters, because I knew that there's so much to learn in my business analysis, in my analysis area, and that's what I got into my higher studies. Now, when to apply for higher studies? Let's say your eighth semester. So during the starting of your seventh semester, basically in September, is the best time to apply for higher studies because their applications comes 1 year before the 1 year before your final studies. So let's say if you want to do something right after your bachelor's, so you have to prep for yourself for the higher studies 1 year before. So that was a high time, a peak time for applying to colleges. My my plan was to basically focus on dream colleges and then working out colleges, and then nah, I don't want these colleges. So they were like in 5 colleges I applied to. First was Imperial, as obvious, because Imperial is a good college. Then there was Manchester College, and there was Lancaster College and was there. Then there's also like some other universities which were way down the low. So I applied for 5 colleges for my higher studies. For before applying, you always have to give an IELTS. So in IELTS, I got a score of 8 bands, and in reading and listening, I got 8.5. And the trick for that is that before giving an IELTS, you need to focus on mock tests. People don't do mock tests. I did 200 mock tests just on reading, just on listening, just on speaking, and just on writing. So these 200 mock tests, which I did, I made an Excel file. For every single test, I timed myself. So I give 200 timed tests of these mock tests. And then I focus my times. And then I also noted my scores. So when you note your scores, after, let's say, 60, 50 tests, for me, it was 200 tests because I think I was really bad at English. I think I'm still am. But then after 200 tests, the score got linear. It got like just staggered there. Like it was 8.5, 8.5. It wouldn't go less. It wouldn't go up. So I was like, then I knew that I'm ready. So these helping tools, as I said, to-do list, timetable, these Excel file management, they all really helps with you with your goals. So that's how I got into my IELTS. I didn't give GRE, but I did give IELTS, and in the IELTS, I basically scored 8 bands. Now, what's the perfect profile? What's higher studies looking for? Let's say for me, I had an analysis background. I was working as an analyst. And now, obviously, I wanted to get into a good college. So I learned all of about what societies do they have, what they offer in their study materials. Now, in higher studies, basically, during their application process, there's an SOP, there's an essay. For UK, it's an SOP. I don't know, for Canada, it might be an essay or SOP. But yes, for UK, there's a statement of purpose you need to write. In this statement of purpose, I would say that it follows the same thing as your resume. That first comes your experiences. It should be a good story. Then it should come extracurricular, what you did. And then after this, there would be projects or your self-time, what you do, what your hobbies. And then the second last paragraph would be that you want to get, what do you want to get from that higher studies? What do you want to get from, let's say, Lancaster University? I said that I wanted to get these modules. These modules are really high for me. I think if I do them and if I learn a lot of them, then I can have a good upskill. I would have upskilled myself. So in all of these modules, and all of these paragraphs of your SOP, it's a 1-page SOP, 2-page SOP. If it's this 1-page SOP, in all of the paragraphs, it should be related at the end, it should be related with your university. So that takeaway from that paragraph should be that, let's say I did this job, I got this skills, I have skilled. And then you say like, well, in conclusion, I would like to say that I would like to apply these same skills set during my studies at this and this university. So the takeaway should be with the university related. So that's how you get a perfect profile. You have a good resume. Let's say you have these 5, 6 things. You have 5, 6 things. In your resume, 5 components, 4 components, and then also you have SOPs, and then you just wait for the resume selection, and then you go to the interview round. Some of the universities have. I got into Imperial round. In Imperial Business School, I got into my resume got selected. Then after that, there was this interview round where I had to give. It was a video-based interview, which you need to. And I would like to say that I'd never studied for that because I was too confident that my resume got selected, I would get selected. But then I think that was my biggest mistake, because I didn't really study for the video interview, because I was always prepped for the interview face to face. But the video interviews are really different. So you always need to cope up with your technical skills, with your technology of using their whatever they're using. So you have to prep for yourself also. Then I got rejected from the interview stage, because I think I got some one or two questions wrong, and that's how I got rejected. But now, if I look back, I'm like, I'm really glad that I got rejected, because if I wouldn't have, then I would be in the best college. But then I wouldn't have any time to work on my skills, work on my publication, work on my work on my part-time job as an analyst. Because at university, there's a different level of studying. Now, if you go to let's say a small university, and for me, it worked out because Lancaster University, I got here and I was like, okay, I think I have studied a lot of stuff. I just need to brush up myself. And then it will give me a good of time to just work on my publication, and just also work on my let's say some different thing. So now, during my master's, I did my publication. I'm still waiting for the results. Did my publication. I also did my financial analyst role. I have been doing that for 6 months now. So during this master's, not only I just did master's, but I also got some other stuff. I also joined the societies there. There's a Lancaster Sikh Society where you do events. You have a really good spiritual level. And then there's also SFGH, which is Global Health Society for Students for Global Health. I joined these societies now. You would think like a master's student can't do societies, but then I did. I got to know these events. I got to these events, and these were really fun, because they were really like different type of people over there. And then I would have been with the coding people. Now you meet different people, and then that's how basically after higher studies you go. So you need to make sure which college you want to go, because then the life is really difficult if you're living by yourself, because then you would have to cook yourself. You have to clean your room. You would have to iron your own clothes. It's very difficult. I'm just letting you know, it's very difficult. So, well, the end. It's a sad thing that it's gonna have to end. But I really loved talking here, and again, I would be very grateful for this opportunity that I'm here to like obviously explain, give my experience and share my experiences. So now, Q&A, shall we? So yes, is there Satek or any Q&As if you do have?
Manjot, we have a question from Balvinder in the
Okay.
chat box.
Why you choose UK over US, Canada, extra? Yep. It's a good question, because my family is in Canada. My friends, my first cousins, they are staying in Canada. And why did I choose UK? Because there's no one here. But the thing was that I was looking for business analysis. I was looking for business analytics. So there were like a couple of things. First thing was business analytics, that the score, the module, this course which was getting offered, the good universities were in UK. And after that, the UK, the colleges, they were in in Canada. So I had better universities, and well, there was no one here. So I did make a very, I would say a very, according to my parents, I made a bad choice coming to UK and not to Canada, because I don't really have any family here. But this was that it really helped me to obviously again upskill myself and get a good job, because as you know, UK and London, they are the financial hub. So there are so many companies, there are so many, as it says, financial hub of the world. So you get a lot of opportunities here to obviously get a job or land a good job, basically in a consultant, let's say JP Morgan or Morgan and Stanley, something like that. So that's why again, being independent. Being independent. That wouldn't be on my list, but yes, now I'd say that it's because it's very, again, it's very not professional. It's very cool, I guess, just to say being independent. But yes, that was the reason. Any other questions, please?
Hi,
Yeah,
Manjot.
it's
Himani this side.
Hi, Mani.
Um, how are your studies there? Like, I mean, is it different from India, And were you able to, adjust like easily in there, or was it difficult for you to adjust?
Himani, just in academic way or in just living way, like in daily living, just in what sort of adjustment?
like yeah, in the, like day-to-day basis as well as in studies. I've heard that the courses are different. Like the way they make you study, and they are more
Yes,
practical than India. So how is
yes.
it?
Basically, there were lectures. First of all, you give your lectures. You just attend your lectures, and then there comes there's no midterm semester or end term semesters. There's just like uh group based assignments and assignments. So these assignments are really marked, so you need to like obviously work by yourself. So there would be two type of assignments for me. There were individual assignments and then group based assignments. Individual assignments were for a technical part, that you have those technical skills, you now you how you apply it, and then you obviously make a PDF and then send your findings in a way. Second would be that the group based assignments, which I think are the most important way of assignments, because you work with four different people from different countries, China, Netherlands, or Greece. So you work with them, you learn a lot with them, because you have to spend time with them in order to complete this assignment. So these group-based assignments were always there. But again, now there's the professionalism comes in, that you need to obviously represent yourself. And then in this group, there would be different people from different countries, from different ethnicity. So that's how basically my academics went, group-based and individual. Second would be the daily living. Yes, it was kind of tough to. So that's why I got my accommodation near the university, so that I don't have to really travel that much. So it was like only 5-10 minutes away, a bus ride away. So I would wake up in the 9 at 8 or something. And then obviously we have this timetable which are given to us for the next 2 months or 3 months. So we know like which classes to attend or which classes to not to. Because there's also like I had a choice to attend online. So there's always this, you need to know how to cook Indian food, because you really miss it in here. So I think that's how I adjusted myself, because the weather is cold here. I'm still getting adjusted to it. Does that answer the question, Amari?
And what about the expenses? Like it's pretty expensive in there, UK, of course.
Yes.
So are you working
Yeah.
part-time or
Yes. So as I'm working part time, my financial analyst. So my jobs pays for groceries, for my rent. So it basically pays a lot of stuff. But yes, expenses are there. If you go to London, there's very expensive. If you go to Lancaster, it's comparatively to less expensive. You go to Manchester, it's really less expensive. So yes, it just varies around the cities. But then you again